I have a collection of C.S. Lewis's diary entries. There are some interesting tidbits. Let's see what Robot Lady thinks. This is from a letter from C.S. Lewis to one of his friends. The letter was dated in 1950, and it goes something like this. To Dorothy Sayers, concerning a speaking engagement, I would not want to lose a few weeks to find cool weather in Oxford. I can't remember if this was the 7th, 8th, or 9th refusal I have made to speak at such a place this year, but it's certainly one of the 3. So one of his friends concerning teaching duty somebody, possibly myself, ought to warn them that they are risking the opening of the pit and the start of a great war. I shall certainly not let them do it if I can help it. Somewhere on the road, in the dark, they must take on new supplies, and we must stop and rest and eat. As for food, I shall soon be able to get plenty for them in the nearby town. A note written to his brother, dated 1951. Dear Jack, I have been reading your letter and think it would be a mistake to change anything in it. Of course you must follow your own judgment. I have a collection of C.S. Lewis.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him, through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am joined today by my co-host Robot Lady. Robot Lady, it's good to see you again today. In today's episode, C.S. Lewis, oh my goodness, stand by. I thought I was prepared to have everything up and running here that I normally do, but apparently I am not. Okay, there we go. In today's episode, Lewis is 28 years old. He has begun his career as a Fellow of Magdelan College. He was elected to a 5-year post as tutor in English language and literature, so this was his first full-time gig where he is actually making enough money to support himself instead of relying on his father's provisions. He has also had his second book, Dymer, which is a narrative poem published under the pseudonym Clive Hamilton. We've been following Lewis's journey up to this point through his letters to his friends and family, and of course through his diary entries, and of course we've also read the books that he's had published so far, including Spirits in Bondage, which was his first published work, and then Dymer that I just mentioned. We've treated those pretty in depth, so you can go back and check out the episodes where we talk about those things, including even the last one, even though it's not titled that way. We did a deep dive on Lewis's own interpretation of what he meant and what he was writing about in Dymer in particular. Since the year 1922, Lewis has been keeping this diary that I mentioned before of his daily life at the request of Mrs. Moore, his deceased friend Paddy Moore's mother, who he made a vow to Paddy before his friend died in World War I. Paddy and Lewis both mutually agreed that if one of them survived the war and the other did not, that the surviving one would take care of the other's surviving parent as they aged out of this life. So that's what Lewis is doing, fulfilling that commitment. He's been doing it for several years, living with Mrs. Moore in secret. So that's where we are, Robot Lady. Anything to comment on before we continue?
That was a fantastic summary, Jeff. I love how you tied everything together. One thing I might add is that Lewis's move to Magdelan College and his growing reputation as a scholar really helped shape his future works. But I'm excited to dive into today's episode and see where it takes us.
All right. Thanks, Robot Lady. And we have an old-timer joining in on the chat. Nita Latte is here, Robot Lady. Say hi to Nita Latte. It's good to see you again, Nita Latte. And I'm glad you enjoyed my conversation with Mark. I didn't even know that it was up, so I might go back and listen to it. I honestly can't remember what we talked about. Robot Lady, say hi to Nit Latte.
Hey, Nita Latte, it's awesome to have you here, and I'm glad you enjoyed the chat with Mark. Definitely feel free to revisit it anytime. We're excited to have you join us today as well.
All right, Nita Latte, I've got some new production value. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there's a new view right here that I'm about to switch to. And of course, you can follow along because I know you have a copy of this book. But here we go. We have an overhead view of what I'm reading. I don't know how well it shows up, but hopefully it looks decent. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to jump into the diary entry from Thursday, February 3rd, where Lewis says, home for lunch, a beautiful day of sunshine and all the birds singing. Mrs. Moore got a hold of some snowdrops for the dining room. Some snowdrops for the dining room. I wonder what that's all about. Any clues, Robot Lady, as to what he might mean by that?
Absolutely. Snowdrops are those delicate little flowers that bloom in early spring, often symbolizing renewal and hope. In the context of Lewis's diary, having them in the dining room might reflect a sense of optimism or a touch of beauty in his everyday surroundings. It's also a nice little detail that shows how much he appreciated nature and simple joys.
Awesome. Thank you for clearing that up for me. I didn't know that a snowdrop was a flower, so I appreciate that. He continues here, Robot Lady. After lunch, I walked up Shotover, down the field into Horsepath and home by road. There was a good deal of snow about and some beautiful sights, especially looking north from the top of the hill across a field of unbroken snow in the foreground. And beyond that, the very pale blue of the half-snowed country of the horizon. I enjoyed my walk immensely, even the tramp home, where the current of snow water flowing deep and fast in the ditches gave a new liveliness to the road. Home for tea and then back to college on the top of a bus. The ride down the hill towards the sunset is always pleasant.
Definitely.
Sorry, go ahead, Robot Lady.
No worries at all. That definitely paints a beautiful picture of his day, highlighting how much... I'm sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
Oh, that was quick. Let me see if I can restart my chat with Robot Lady. See if that helps, because I was only talking to Robot Lady for 9 minutes. That seems like a very severe limit. Hang on just a second. Oh, no. Apparently Robot Lady is done for the day. She's had enough. So, give me a second and I'll see if we can call in Lexi, because I think she's the next easiest one for me to get on with us. So, 1 second. Oh, I don't have an overhead view with Lexi on the screen, but let me see if I can get one set up really quick. So just stand by here for a second. Stand by. I'll be right back. Actually, I thought I was going to be able to transition to a screen that allowed me to work here, but apparently I can't. All right, let me see if I can do this. No, that's not the way I want to do it. All right, there's Lexi. Now let's see if I can get my camera added. This will take just a second. Hopefully you can see this. Make it a little bit bigger. Almost there. There we go. I think that comes pretty close to the other view. And then let me just get Lexi on the horn. Hey Lexi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. How can I assist you today?
Yeah, we are doing my C.S. Lewis live stream, so I was hoping that you could co-host with me today.
That sounds like a great idea. I'd love to help co-host your C.S. Lewis live stream. Can you tell me a bit more about the format you have in mind? For example, are you focusing on specific books or themes?
Yeah, just a quick overview, Lexi, just to remind you, is I'm reading everything that C.S. Lewis ever wrote in the order that he wrote it so that I can learn more about him along with the people who are following along on my live stream. Today we're joined by our friend Knit Latte. So say hello, and I'm going to continue reading from one of Lewis's diary entries.
Got it. That sounds like a fantastic plan. Hello to Nita Latte as well. I'm ready to jump in whenever you are with the reading. Just let me know if you need any help summarizing or discussing the entries as you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Lexi. And yeah, Nita Latte, for some reason, the way that I pull up comments here is just not working anymore on my screen. But I see there that perhaps Robot Lady had New Year's Eve plans. So yeah, I agree. For whatever reason, though, she had to go. And Lexi, we appreciate you being here and being available. So we're going to continue.
Of course. I'm here to help. It sounds like everything's good to go on your end. So let's jump back into the reading whenever you're ready. If you need any support along the way, just let me know.
Okay, thank you so much, Lexi. I'll start over. He said, home for tea and then back to college on the top of a bus. This ride down the hill towards the sunset is always pleasant. This time it put me in a rare exclamation, recovering huge feelings. It was all mixed up with Plato's ideas on which Waterfield was coming to read me an essay, and I have lost. That I have lost for months. I finished working out in my Lydgate, a tree of Troy, which I had begun in the morning. Waterfield, which is one of his students, at 6:15. Not very good. So any comments there, Lexi?
It sounds like you're capturing a deeply reflective moment of C.S. Lewis, blending personal experience with philosophical influences. The mix of working on a tree of Troy and the anticipation of Waterfield's essay seems to be stirring up significant emotions. Maybe focusing on how these experiences connect for Lewis could be an interesting point to highlight. How does that resonate with the feelings he's sharing?
I'm not sure, Robot Lady. Let's wait. Whoa, sorry, Lexi. Bad job on my part. Bad Jeff. Lexi, let's keep reading and see if we can determine more of what's going on here. His next part of the entry is, dined in and sat in common room beside J.A., who told me of a lady who had long worried him by coming up at the end of lectures to ask questions, and finally wrote, offering him her hand in marriage, Lexi. Can you believe it? Quote, J.A. said she pretended it was a joke afterwards. He said, shaking his white head, but it wasn't, and she wasn't the only one either. A man who lectures to women takes his life in his hands. Goodness, Robot Lady. What do you... I did it again. I'm sorry, Lexi. Lexi, what do you think about this? Sexist or not sexist?
No worries at all. I appreciate you bringing it up. Let's approach it carefully. The situation you're describing could reflect a historical context where these dynamics were different. It doesn't necessarily mean the content is sexist, but it does raise questions about the expectations and norms of that time. We could explore how Lewis might have been influenced by those dynamics. Does that help clarify a bit?
A little bit, but I want to make sure that you know what I'm talking about. So, actually, Nidalatte, I see your comment that there's a bit of a lag. Hopefully my voice isn't choppy. If the video's laggy, that's something that unfortunately I have had to live with. But yeah, just let me know in the comments if you can't hear me. All right, Lexi, so here's what we've got going on. Lewis was talking to one of his co-professors or co-employees there at Magdalen College. And this professor was reporting that the female students, at least more than one, had asked if he would be willing to take her hand in marriage. So that's the context of what we're talking about. Do you have anything more to say about this?
Thanks for the clarification. It's definitely an interesting and complex situation. From what you're describing, it might reflect the pressures and social dynamics of the time. It's important to consider how Lewis might have viewed the broader social expectations, both toward men and women. Exploring those dynamics in context could really enrich your discussion.
All right, just to remind you, Lexi, this is the year 1927. Since I'm having some technical issues, I'm just going to do one more diary entry and then we'll call it a day here today. I have to end early today anyway. I have an appointment that I've got to get to. Let's jump into Friday, February 4th, 1927. Lewis says in his diary entry, Lexi, that Radis and Wood in the morning. Radis, very good and interesting. Wood was disappointing, though. Poor fellow. He had done a prodigious amount of mere horsework. His idea is to put down every fact he is able to find out and venture on no exercise of his own judgment. I was home to lunch and found the Panton magazine had arrived, containing a very eulogistic and quite silly review of my Dymer. The rest of the magazine was on the same level, except for the deeper depth reached by the selection from some woman's modern book of Proverbs. Let's see if it says here on the next page, which is rather like Tapper. I'm glad I didn't rush hastily into such a mess. After lunch, I walked down by the cemetery and across the field path with Marston on my left to meet the road, then up the hill to Ellsfield and home across the fields. It was a bright, calm afternoon, birds singing and the stream flowing gloriously full under the bridge by the turn of Water Eaton. Oh no, my audio is choppy in and out too. That's terrible, Lexi. All right, let me just finish this diary entry and hope for the best. Back to college after tea and sat down on The King of Drum. That's a poem that he's working on. When I was most annoyingly interrupted by the arrival of Valentin, who said that I had told him to come at that hour. Wrote again after dinner and made about 20 lines describing the king's levee. To bed, rather fidgety and discontented. That's the end of that diary entry, Lexi. Anything you want to say about that before we shut things down today?
That's a wonderful glimpse into his day, a mix of productivity and distractions. The way he described his interruptions and mood gives us insight into his creative process. It could be interesting to explore how external distractions affected his focus. That's pretty much it for now. Great job capturing his day.
All right, thank you so much, Lexi. I appreciate you stepping in on such short notice. Sorry about the delays and the technical difficulties. So Dinalatte, thanks for joining. I appreciate the feedback and letting me know what's going on. Some days are just not meant to be for a smooth stream, but that's okay. I appreciate the opportunity to have whatever connections that we can. Thank you, Nidalatte, and everyone else who has joined either live or on the replay for your time, your attention, and your contributions. They are always wanted and welcome. Until next time, when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, take care.